Yeah, you talked a bit about where Edger needs to improve, but what has Tywone done to really lock down that starting third there?
Well, he's been consistent in his approach. Um, probably I think he graded out his best game that he's graded out so far this year against Washington. So I think his confidence is improving. You're seeing more consistency. He's using what he's doing in practice and in his learning about what needs to be done in terms of taking on blocks in a run game and also in the pass rush. Using the tools that Coach Johnson and Coach Patricia are giving him, and now they're starting to show up on the field. And it's a mindset, and his mindset's changed, and because of that, you're seeing better play.
Front row, Jeff Gilbert.
I know you don't want to gain from that big kick, but Jayden, how do you feel about him right now this year? Second year doing this?
He might be our leading tackler on kickoff, which is not good, but he passed the toughness test, I guess, for a kicker. No, I think that every day in practice he's getting more and more consistent, and we put him into situations where if we make the field goal, everyone goes on to period two. If we don't, we have up downs or gassers, and we're constantly putting him in situations where they're meaningful, and he keeps answering the call on those and proving that we can trust him in big moments, and that's what this is all about, is earning trust every day. And he's doing that with his teammates. And when you're a kicker, it's one shot, one kill. That's the terms we use, because when you go in there, you only got one shot to be right. And it's about discipline. It's about focus and making sure that you're not worried about anything other than just that one play and that kick. And he's shown that he's doing that. His confidence is getting higher and higher. And we're going to need him, because at some point this season, it's going to come down to those types of plays, coming down to 1 point, one play, and we're going to need them.
Tony Birdman. Ryan, you mentioned yesterday that desire for more explosives. When you look back at that Washington game, were there opportunities for that in the passing game that just didn't quite happen?
Well, I think there's a lot that goes with it. There certainly were plays that were designed to push the ball down the field, but coverage dictated that we had to either check the ball down or the second part of the route or whatever it might be. So we're always going to look to create explosive plays, but we also have to take what the defense gives us and be willing to do that. I think just across the country, you're seeing a lot of defenses, with the number of plays going down, keep it in front, make them, drive the entire field, not give up explosive plays. I listened to Coach Fish's press conference, and it was like, we're just going to keep it in front and make them work the ball all the way down the field. I thought they had a good game plan. But we also had 16 plays over 10 yards, which is good. And if we're finishing off the drives, and we're really efficient, that's what matters the most. Which is a contrast to maybe where it was a few years ago when the clock stopped after first downs. When we were working more off a no huddle, the game was a little bit different, and you were seeing more plays and more points. But ultimately, it's about efficiency and winning the game. So it's all cyclical. But we're always looking to be explosive, as you know. Hey, Steve.
Julian, I felt like you guys eased him into the game there last week, and in the second half, he was 8 of 9, I think, on that touchdown drive to start the second half. You feel like you passed the test in the first half, handling the hostile environment to where you felt comfortable, and going forward, Illinois and some of the other games are going to happen.
Yeah, I see what you guys see, and I think that's somebody who's building confidence every time he's out there, building confidence around the guys that are around him, his teammates. And so, we're going to keep doing that. He knows the number one goal is to win the game. And that was the goal in the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and it'll be the same thing this week. But, he's, like you said, the more and more things that we're going to put on his plate and ask him to do will increase. But, he's taking care of the football, which is the most important thing. And winning games, and that's what we have to make sure we focus on here. All that being said, I do think that he's getting more and more comfortable in the offense, understands how we want to attack teams, and I think you're seeing that in his play. So great opportunity here on Saturday to keep building on that. Well, it's funny when you have different people come watch you practice. You know, Greg Madison came out to practice today, which was great to see him, and just different people come. Coach Tressel was here yesterday, and just different people watch, and people who have been around football. You just ask their opinion, and this goes back to spring, in August, and then now, and just get a lot of feedback. You know, you guys, you have a good team, but you're a lot different than you were last year, just different. And when you ask me, you know, what do you see? And I think I've said this for a while. It's an edgy group. They're competitive. They go after it every day. I mean, there was a point in the spring where we had to stop practice and we had to run 53s because there were fights breaking out in practice. And that's not a good thing for discipline. But it did show that these guys, you know, they're edgy and they like to compete. And that's something that we want to have as an identity. And I think you're seeing that with this group. Now we have to understand that, you know, we can't have penalties and we have to be disciplined, but these guys are going to back down to nobody. And they like playing, and they got an edge and chip on their shoulder, and that's the way we have to be. And I'll just go back to that, too. I think it's important. I believe this, and I share this with the guys every day. The most desperate and hungry team is going to win every Saturday. And we have to make sure that we wake up every day in that same mentality, you know. And, you know, that's when you win games, you know, week after week, sometimes that's not easy to do. So it's my job, and it's our job as coaches, and it's the job of the leaders here to make sure we wake up with a bad attitude every day and that we're showing up with an edge. And it's okay if you piss somebody off once in a while, because that's how you have to play this game. You know, this game is not played any other way. And that's the way we have to practice. And if we're practicing that way, we're going to play that way. It's a mindset. It's a mindset, you know. We're trying to prove every day, somebody right and somebody wrong, and that has to be the way we show up every day. And if you emphasize that, you're going to get it if guys believe in it. I think our guys do.
When did you become absolutely convinced that Austin could play left?
Well, you know, I think one of the things that's important as a head coach is you give position coaches, you know, the responsibility to make decisions on personnel, but then they have to stand by them. And it's you know, it's my job to make sure I'm challenging constantly who's in the game, if we're making the right decisions, if we believe in the scheme. And, you know, typically if somebody sort of, you know, backs down, then I know that they don't believe in it. If somebody pounds the table and says, no, I believe in this. That's what I want to hear as a head coach, somebody that believes in what they're doing and has conviction. And Tyler Bowen had conviction that Austin would be our best left tackle. And then over time, just like anything, Austin built trust in the coaching staff and his teammates that he was doing his job every play. And when you don't notice somebody, that means they're doing their job in the offensive line. And Austin is a captain. Austin's an Iron Buckeye. And he earned the respect of the team in the offseason, and he's earned the respect of his team now on the field with his play.
Last question to Bill.
Luke Montgomery was the offensive player of the game last week. What is he?
Yep. Yeah, I think Luke and Carson were both the players of the game, which has never happened before here. But I felt like on the road, they handled themselves like pros. You know, Luke was looking back to get the signal. His back is to the defense. Carson is making the calls in a loud environment. And the two of them, I thought, handled that excellent. And I thought it had to do with their approach going into the bye week and the way they handled it. And that took a lot of pressure off of everybody, including the quarterback. And so I think for Luke, once he got his opportunity there in the playoffs, he took it and ran. And he had an edge. He had some competitiveness. Like, he'd come off the field and you know, start throwing me around. You know, I mean, you just love that as a coach. And he played that way through the playoffs. He's built his confidence up in the offseason in the weight room, and you're starting to see him play his best football right now. Thanks, guys. Yep.
No, I didn't. I was talking to Jerry. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a switch that turns when I get on the field. You know, I have a lot of fun playing the game, and you know, football's it's a kid sport. It's a child sport at heart. You know, at the end of the day. So, as an older kid, getting to play this, it's part of my job, and obviously school and stuff like that. But it's been great, and it's a lot of fun. Just go out there and just play freely and loose, and just have fun doing it.
I guess in that same vein, how much fun did you have kind of dominating the line of scrimmage so that you guys did have time on Saturday?
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, just being able to set the tone and stuff like that from the jump, and you know, that's what we got to do week in, week out. You know, that's got to be our identity.
Take me through like the fine line of just destroying your man to the whistle, but not getting a penalty. Because you can walk that fine line, right?
Play through the whistle.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a whistle.
No,
I usually don't hear a whistle, so it's good that they didn't call a flag. But you know, we do that a lot. You know, we're 4 to 6 A to B +2 here. You know, we gotta find that edge, and we gotta just continue to drive people and put them in the dirt. And you know, that's like a touchdown as an offensive lineman. So you feel good when you do that, when you got your guy on the ground like that.
Sends a message, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the pancake was invented here by William.
100%, yeah. And you know, there's more to come from that. So it's been a lot of fun. Like the group's been great. We're super close, and as a unit, and obviously as an offense, as a team. So you know, it's a lot of fun, and it makes your job easier when you're playing around guys like Carson and Tegra and Austin and Phillip and guys like that. You know, like it makes it a lot easier.
You obviously played a lot with CFB and started games, but I think people kind of lost sight of the fact that Saturday was your first road start too.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to have the responsibility of doing the sound?
Yeah.
And what does it mean to you that you were able to get that responsibility?
Yeah, you know, I think it just starts with the confidence. Coaches obviously had confidence in me doing that, and I would say honestly, I think my first road game was the Cotton Bowl, because I think we were down in the home of Texas, and that was loud as well. But you know, we've been working on it and stuff like that, and it's just what we got to do to win. So you know, we've got to do it. We got to do it. Yeah, like I think just game to game, just growing confidence. You know, I was just talking to Jerry and those guys. Like, you're not gonna play in anything bigger than a national championship game till you're years down the road, and hopefully in a Super Bowl. So, you know, there's nothing bigger than that. So like, why would you have to blink when you get out there on the field? And that just kind of helped me with my confidence and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like I said, like I think you know the Lord gave me that opportunity at that time, and there was no reason to blink. You know, like if He's given me that opportunity, He knows that I was ready for that, and you know, I was obviously a little bit pissed off as well, just that I hadn't played the whole year and stuff like that. So you know, a little anger came out of me in my play, and you know, like what you put on tape is what your identity is, and I want people to know that's my identity, and I'll do that week in, week out. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Just the confidence he has as a player. Like I learn from him I learn stuff from him every day, and like he's a better person and works as hard as he is off the field. You know, he's a great dude, and you know, we hold that left side down. We talk about that every day and stuff like that. You know, so it's you know, it just I think we have confidence in each other like every day, obviously, but we feed off each other, and that, you know, that helps. Yeah. You learn that he's a kill-minded human being on the field. Like he loves putting people in the dirt, and you feed off that as an offensive lineman. And you know, he's kind of changed our group a little bit, just coming in, and we see a little bit of a different identity with our group this year, I think. Me. You know, I think we're pretty leveled on that. I think, like I said, like it's a touchdown as an offensive lineman. So, you know, it's been fun to see guys just compete out there and do their jobs. The biggest, on the team or just O-line? Biggest edge. You know, I think we're all up there. But if I had to pick one, just from a practice standpoint, because I think on the field it's pretty leveled. I think Phillip plays with the biggest edge. Yeah. I think a lot of guys have that. You know, I think, you know, at the end of the day, we love our defense, but, you know, we get after it with each other every once in a while, and sometimes it carries over, but it's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
You said that Phillip was a kill-minded human being. Like, with that type of mentality on the field, is that something you just innately have, or can you develop that?
I think over time you can develop it with just watching someone like that. But I would say it's more of a natural thing. Yeah.
I don't want to you guys have been really good on the left side there. You guys have to play like the first fourth down there. What's the message like on the sideline, talking between you and Austin and CJ and Carson to get that thing cleaned up? And like, how do you guys think that, even though you didn't convert that fourth down, do you think like you learned something from that play?
Yeah, you know, before the game we talked about just having confidence and being poised in the moment. You know, stuff's not going to go our way in games like that because it's a big game, and at Washington's a great team. I think they're going to be a really good team down the road as well for the rest of their season. But yeah, just being poised. I mean, at the end of the day, like it was the first quarter and the first drive, and like there's a long game to go after that. So like we have so much confidence in our defense too. Like we knew that they were gonna do their thing and we were gonna get back out on the field. So there's no reason to freak out, and that's what just being poised is. And I think we did a great job of that because there's no reason to freak out. They're great. They all have different personalities and stuff like that. But it's been great, and we're getting better every week up front, and we're continually getting better and stuff like that. And we have a lot of confidence in them and running.
I'm curious your first impression because I don't think you were on the field against Grambling with Bo in that second half.
Yeah.
What was your first impression of him? His first kind of real game?
Yeah, he's a quiet human being. He just kind of goes about his business, and I know that him and Zay are two backs that are really young and stuff like that. And I see it through practice every day. Like I wasn't surprised at all. They've been doing a great job, and sky's the limit for both of them.
Both you and Philip, when you're on the field, like you have this way of getting in people's heads. I think, like you can see like that Washington linebacker maybe shoving you back after the play, or like the way Phil is kind of riles people out. Is there something too you think rattling a front seven when you're putting them in the ground like that, when you're kind of maybe I don't know talking a little trash out there?
Yeah,
what you do,
honestly, like maybe Austin. Maybe you talk to Austin later. You can ask him. I don't really believe in talking trash. I kind of just do my job, and if you get mad after me, if I'm doing my job, I obviously did something right. I think so. That was just me doing my job and putting him in the dirt and stuff like that. So.
And then I wanted to ask you too, your thoughts on Tywone taking over the free tech.
Yeah.
How he's done, how you see him grow.
He's grown a lot. I think all the three techs in general have grown a lot. They're getting better week in, week out, and we're building a lot of depth there. And it's fun to watch. Just someone whose confidence is skyrocketing and stuff like that. And I'm just super, super happy for him because he's waited his turn. And guys like that can obviously jump ship and transfer and stuff like that. But he's really just kind of stayed here for the last 3 years and continually grown in his confidence. And it's finally paying off. So it's a lot of fun to see your teammates do that.
Thank you.
Obviously I watch the film and stuff like that, but it's just a play and I'm just doing my job. But I like to go back and watch the TV copies as a fan because that's something my dad and just my family when I was back home, like when I was younger, I'd always watch Ohio State games on Saturday, and I just love listening to the commentaries and stuff like that. So I usually just go back and watch the game through like on my Mondays off days.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luke.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Ryan earlier was talking about changing mindset as being key for you. Like, what do you think he means by that? How have you changed your mindset to where you're now getting into the starting three tech?
Can you repeat that first part?
Yeah, sorry. Coach Day earlier, we talked to him about you a little bit. He had mentioned that you had a mindset change that's been key to your recent surges. How did you shift your mindset to achieving your change?
Pretty much just understanding the game better, watching everybody before me play and seeing what they did, how they prepare for games, and just knowing that I got to do what I got to do to help my teammates win, you know what I'm saying? Especially at the three-tech position with me and Edric and Jason and all. We all rotating in, we all building confidence off each other, and it doesn't matter who goes out there first, we all going to have the same standards and ball out.
You said you graded out best in this last game than you had in any game previously. How have you felt your confidence grow since you've been, getting a bigger role, getting more snaps at the three-tech position?
Like I said, it goes back to my preparation. Before the fall camp, me and Coach Jay was talking about what do I need to improve on to help the team out in a better way. And that most importantly thing was film study, understanding what the opponents like to do, what they like to run, if they in certain formations, what they like to do at those formations, just get a better feel of the game for myself.
Tywone, did you have at any moment in preseason, whatever, have a talk with yourself? Now's my time. This is the year I got to step up, etc. Because everybody was talking about the lack of depth in the defensive tackle room, etc. But you're a guy who has delivered something. What was just those self-conversations like, I guess, going into this year?
So pretty much it was just because we talked about a lot in the D-line room. Everybody didn't really have high hopes for us coming out in the season. And, the biggest thing was we all came together and just realizing, like, we got a standard for the D-line, and we got to uphold that. We had a great front four, my apologies. Front four leaving last year, and they left off great with the Nationals, and we knew as young guys that we had to come and do the same thing. So just pretty much all of us coming together, understanding the one goal, one mission.
And with you, is it more of a consistency now? I mean, how would you describe why you're getting to play and deliver?
you know, not just letting one bad play take over, you know, just live on for the next one, just keep going hard and keep focusing, just keep getting off the ball, and great things will happen.
Aaron Scott was talking about Matt Patricia being a players coach, the way that he's gotten to know some of the guys. But what have you enjoyed about playing for him, and what's it been like getting to know him off the field?
You know, Coach P, he a great dude, man. He really cares about his players. He's always asking us how we feeling, how we doing, if we have any questions on certain defenses that he want to do for that particular game and stuff like that, and just pretty much just being consistent with us. You know, if we not having the best days, he's always there checking up in on us, making sure we all good. And his coaching techniques, you know, coming from the league, coming here, giving us real good tips about what they would like to see in the next level and how we could bring that in over here. Yeah, man, it was a long one, you know, sitting every time with Coach Jay just talking about what can I do to improve on my game, you know, watching films on other guys, like I mentioned before, and seeing how they handle themselves in situations, how they handle themselves on the field, how they handle themselves in the film studies, practice, stuff like that, and just basically like going over what they were doing and putting it into my day game. You know, Coach Jay, he was real patient, man. You know, this game's not easy. A lot of time it takes a lot of patience, especially coming from two sports and to just focusing on one. It's not as time consuming, so you can focus more on one thing rather than two things. And just getting with him every day and just figuring out what we gotta do to improve and help me be the best player I could be.
You played a career high in snaps last weekend. How did you feel you adjusted to the locker room?
I felt like the same. We've been going hard since fall camp. You know, we've been rotating guys and just like I said in my last interview, like next man up. So whoever's out there just gotta play as hard as you can, as long as you can, until the next man steps in to take over for you.
I'm sure you didn't expect it to take this long for you to get into a starting role, but how do you feel like the journey that's taken you to this point is helping get where you are?
I feel like I'm here for a reason. You know, I feel like my journey, it was my journey for a reason, and I'm right where God believes I should be. Any other questions?
What is the last question right there? What is the mindset of a defensive tackle in the midst of all that? Basically, a real man's world down in the gut there. What is the mindset you have to have in that situation?
You gotta play aggressive. You gotta play physical. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta know your job, know your assignment, and just execute it at a high level.
Do you feel like you're in a constant boxing match? How would you describe it? I guess the offensive line.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Do you feel like you're almost in a constant boxing match? I mean, a fight. I mean, what does it feel like in the midst of all that?
Oh, it's a fight every day up front. You know, it's the trenches. So you're gonna have to fight every time, or you're gonna get defeated. So it's just a constant battle between you and the other guy. Just gotta keep attacking and keep attacking with them.
All right. Tywone, thank you very much.
Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Hey, folks. Yeah, Jayden, what goes through your mind when you start to feel yourself slip a little bit?
Just continue as much as you can. Just hope it goes in, because it's kind of that soccer instinct that kicks in. You know, having kicked a moving ball all the time. Now it's just you moving, so it's a little different. But I've done it sometimes in practice on accident, and usually goes in just like that. So yeah.
Did you get a little bit of extra chatter from the locker room after they see you tackling for him and see you get putting your nose in there a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. The guys kind of came around me a little bit more, which was fun. They did give me a hard time about the tackling for him, but I was just trying to cut off his angle to the sideline, man. So, just did what I had to do. Mm-hmm. Consequences. If there's consequences on it, there's heightened stakes, stuff like that. It really adds emphasis on it, I guess you could say. It makes it more game-like. So it's nice to have that opportunity in practice, so it's not the first time it comes up when it happens in a game. Yeah. Yeah, it's been great this year. Felt great the whole year so far. Hopefully it continues, and yeah, it's been great. Not having to worry about, that hurts when I do this, or I have to change this so I'm not hurting myself more. Can kind of just focus on actually kicking, which is nice. Today we kicked from 63, so that was pretty fun. Yeah. No, I did not. I missed wide left, but had the leg, so yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is there something about being on the road that helps you?
Like being the villain. It's fun. It's a fun mentality to have. I wouldn't say it's easy to kick in the shoe. There's a bunch of wind. I kind of followed in his footsteps and learned from him my freshman year, and I would watch what he would do, and that's kind of what he would do. He would be paying attention to the flags. I'd talk to him about it, and you play in the stadium enough. I don't know how many career games I have in there. It's a lot, but you just kind of notice stuff like that, and it can help you and it can hurt you. So I wouldn't say so. The practice field has similar wind, especially with the way the building wraps around, and you can get some swirls out there. So having that level of practice out there too, deeper kicks, harder kicks, it's about the same.
So just to clarify, you're saying the north end, is it easier to kick on that side because it's not as open, or is it pretty much the same?
I would say the north end's easier in the shoe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. It's exactly like I told Coach Keys, because Coach Keys is a big golfer. I was like, when you're hitting your driver and you see a 5 mile an hour right to left wind, you're going to aim more right just to keep it in the middle of the fairway. It's the same thing. It's just like trying to hit the fairway in golf.
Yeah, I've talked to a bunch of kickers here over the decades, and they say that also there's spots in Ohio State that are almost dead spots.
Mm-hmm.
You keep that in mind also, right?
Yep.
Isn't that kind of goofy when you think about it?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about that a stadium so big that's outdoors that has so much wind has a 5-yard area where there's none. So it's different, and something you definitely have to account for, but just got to keep it going.
All right, Jayden, thank you.
Thanks, guys.